Want to discuss?
Yeah, welcome to the November Western North Carolina Linux Users Group. We do have a presentation today by Alan on Drupal. And I don't think we have any outstanding business unless anyone wants to raise something. It would be nice to get some future presentations or ideas out there for future presentations. So I'll just let the group say what they want to say before we let Alan do his thing. Anyone have anything business oriented? All right, just footsteps and crickets, it sounds like. So yeah, so I'm going to drop my video, and I would request that everyone mute themselves and turn their video off so Alan can do his presentation.
Okay. I have three objectives for today's presentation. The first objective is hopefully not to bore you to death. The second objective is not to tell you more than I know. I am not a Drupal expert, nor have I ever instructed in Drupal, but I can share an overview of the basic Drupal functions and elements. And third objective is to hopefully spark your interest in further exploring Drupal as a content management system. First of all, what is a content management system? Simply, it is a software tool or suite of software tools that allows users to add, edit, publish, and remove content on a web page. And to demonstrate Drupal, I thought, what better way to demonstrate it than to actually create a Drupal website. And so I'm going to share my screen, and you can see the an actual Drupal site, and we can work through the menu structures. And you can also visit the site. It's hosted at HTTPS ziponbuy. That's ZIPBUY.com. And hopefully we won't crash it. It's on just a minimal droplet on DigitalOcean. So let me share my screen, and all right. Can you all see the, what are you seeing now?
Can't see anything yet.
All right, you still seeing me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let me see if I can get this thing going.
Very good.
Yeah, we see you.
All right, you still see me or the presentation?
No, we see the screen.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is a very simple site, and you can follow through the menus. And this first screen basically just is a general description of the Drupal content management system for creating, dynamic database-driven websites. And Drupal is one of the three major content management system platforms, the others two being Joomla and WordPress. At the current time, I think WordPress has the largest share of content management systems. But Drupal has a very powerful system. It was initially developed in 2001, and it was the principal developer was a Belgian software programmer by the name of Dries Buytaert, and he developed Drupal while he was in school pursuing his master's degree. And he developed it as kind of a communication platform so he could communicate with his fellow students at the university. And he originally called Drupal, he wanted to call it Dorp, which is Dutch for village, and for its community aspects. But he missed, when he was searching for domain names, he misspelled Dorp, and he named it Drop. So he kind of liked Drop. So Drop became the domain name, and he later used the English rendering of the word drop in Belgium, which is Drupal, and they renamed it Drupal, and that's how Drupal got its name, because it sounded better. Anyway, to put Drupal and content management and why it's needed, just take a look at the historical backdrop. I'm going to do this very quickly, but you can feel free to explore this later on at your leisure. The division point between prehistory and history was the invention of writing. And this started in 3500 BC in Mesopotamia, actually in Samaria, where the use of cuneiform originated. And cuneiform was scribed on clay bowls and tablets. And those items have lasted until today. So it just shows the durability of written language. It then progressed to Egypt, where they used hieroglyphics. And so you obviously, by hand creating or hand writing the content, very labor intensive and requires a lot of skills. And so there wasn't a whole lot of written content available. Well, in the 15th century, Johann Gutenberg invented movable type printing. And with that invention, it enabled printing books and other manuscripts. And it allowed a huge increase in the amount of recorded content. Well, skipping forward to the early 1960s, when digital content came into use, the amount of recorded information just skyrocketed. And on the next tab here, I've got some very interesting links that you can review later, but it shows for example, various timelines by decade on what digital technologies were first came into use. And you can search by like the 1990s, and it'll give you a history of when these technologies were first brought online. Right, I'm going to go back here to all right, so further on the history, in 1991, a gentleman by the name of Tim Berners-Lee invented the Wide World Web. And that was, although other versions of hypertext existed before then, he really came up with the proposal and invented what we now know as the Wide World Web. And he was working at CERN at the time, and he released his open source software code to the public in 1993. In 1996, the Wide World Web rolled out cascading style sheets, CSS. And what this did, originally hypertext was hard-coded page markup language, and so it was static, and it was every time you wanted to make a change, you'd have to actually change the code. Well, with the introduction of cascading style sheets, it took the technology a little further by separating the hard-coded HTML code from the presentation layer, and cascading style sheet allowed formatting the display of that hypertext, made it much easier and much more attractive looking websites. The next evolution of web technology further separated the presentation code from the content by storing the content in searchable databases. And that allowed dynamically driven websites. So what happens, Drupal is a database driven system where it uses HTML and cascading style sheets and browser-based like JavaScript and other technologies to display the page, but the content is actually stored, and a lot of the configuration settings are stored in a database. And that allows interactive websites where the server can interact with individual users. A user can log into the site and have a different experience than perhaps another user. So Drupal, the features and characteristics are Drupal are that it's very versatile, it's modular, it's secure, it's open source, it's basically non-technical to use, and it adheres to open web objectives, which, unlike proprietary online services like Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or any number of other systems, it does not track the user's usage, and so therefore it's kind of like in the spirit of open source, it's not tracking to resell the user's data or the user's how they use the system. The other thing about Drupal is and this is a fairly recent development in the release of Drupal versions, is it's composable. That means that it uses a software tool called Composer, which is a PHP dependency management tool that it's not exactly, but it's kind of akin to using apt or apt-get or yum, in that it allows a Drupal user or developer to easily add additional modules and other features, and to manage Drupal, keep it updated. And so I'll get into that in a moment here. But Drupal, since it has it runs on what's called typically a LAMP stack: Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. And Drupal is largely written in the PHP program language, although it does have other program language elements that can be incorporated. And but in order to install and use Drupal, you need to have several components. You need you need a LAMP stack would include Linux operating system. Although Drupal is agnostic to the underlying operating system, a Drupal site can run on a Windows server and on a Mac OS. But for our purposes, we're going to talk about and the majority of Drupal sites, I believe, are run on LAMP stacks. So you need to install, or if you already have installed, Linux. And then you also need a web server. Well, the most commonly used web server is Apache, and but a version of Apache that is also very commonly used now is called trying to think of the you've got Apache, you got Nginx, which is a lighter weight web server, and it's I believe it's a little got better performance, it's faster. But either Apache or Nginx or Lightpad, or you need a web server. The third element that you need is a database server. And again, Drupal will run on a number of database servers. The most common is MySQL or MySQL. It's pronounced both ways. And the code base, the MySQL was acquired by Oracle, and they have a community open source version of MySQL, as well as a proprietary version. MySQL also has another version called MariaDB that is also very commonly used. So you got to get a web server, a database server, and install PHP, which is the library of PHP functions that allow Drupal to work. I'm going to show you up here. So now we're going to go. All right, so Drupal can be installed in multiple different ways, and you can use you could, first of all, you can go to Drupal.org and select which Drupal distro that you want to download, and you can download it and manually install it on your Linux operating system computer. This is the way it was done for many years, and some people still use that method. Although in the most recent versions of Drupal, like versions 9 and soon to be released version 10, Drupal recommends that you use Composer, which is the PHP dependency manager, to install Drupal and its dependencies. And to use Composer, you first have to download Composer and install that on your local host. And you can download Composer at getcomposer.org, and they have instructions there. It's very simple to download and install. And once that's installed, then you can use Composer to install whatever distribution or modules in Drupal that you wish to use. You can also use Docker to install Drupal in a Docker container. You can use you can either install it on your local computer, or you can use a cloud hosting service. And a lot of the cloud hosting services have one-click installation scripts to install Drupal on that host. I'm going to demonstrate a super easy, quick one-click method to launch a Drupal demo site in a browser. Dan actually found this method, and it's pretty amazing. And I'm just going to show you right now how that may work. It uses, you need a free GitHub or Gitpod account, and you can go just register and then use that account to host this Drupal demo site. And so I'm going to show you what this looks like here. This is their page on Gitpod, and you come down and just click on this link. I've already got a GitHub set up. And in about 4 minutes, it will actually create a new Drupal instance. And you can explore all the full features of Drupal. Anyway, while that's underway, I'm going to just let this thing do its thing, and you can watch. You can see that it's downloading, extracting the Drupal code, and in a few moments we'll actually have a Drupal site that you can use. All right, while that's working, I'm going to come back up to the website that I created, and you can see here this is a very basic Drupal site, and the view that you're viewing now is what an ordinary person that visits your site will see a default page, because in Drupal there's two interfaces. There's the public interface, and then there is a administrator view. So I'm just going to log in so you can see. And you can see how this changes. Right, now you will notice that up at the top there's a new menu bar where there are different tabs for different functions. The first tab is content. You click on that, and this shows you all the content you've already created. And then, or you can add new content by clicking on this Add Content button. And I'm going to click on that Add Content here, and it's showing two types of content: an article, which and a basic page. A basic page is more like for static content, and the article is more for interactive, for like when users can make comments and use it more interactively. But you can actually create new types of content. For example, let's say you wanted to have a content like recipes, where you can format your Drupal page for making various food recipes, or it could be an e-commerce site or a discussion forum. So you can create whatever types of page content, and they are configured differently. You can add different fields depending upon what you need. And so like right here, here's, I'm going to click here just to show you what, this is that page I created called About Drupal. And in this, we're viewing it. I can click on Edit. And in this view, I can just enter new text. You can insert pictures. You can it's got a. I can change the formatting. Anyway, this is the editor view for creating or editing your content. And you can upload files, you can upload images. So anyway, what is going on here, that's under content. Under structure here, this allows you to modify how the look and function of your Drupal site. You can create blocks, which are areas of the page that contain different elements that you want to include. You can create contact forms. You can create menus, like on menus here. It will show you the different kind of menus for different functions, like the main navigation menu is the main one we have here. And you can see a list here of these menu links that correspond to the menus that go across the page, or they could be drop-down menus. But anyway, another very key element, or the next one is appearance. And Drupal, it has what they call themes, and themes are basically presentation and display. There are hundreds, if not more, different themes that you can download from Drupal and other locations, or you can actually create your own theme, and that controls the look of the site, the menu structures, and it's very customizable. For this page, I'm using a theme called Bartik, which is a very commonly used theme. Now, there are themes that Drupal has themes for the user interface for people visiting the site, and it also has an administrative theme for managing the site, and they can be different. In this case, Olivero is the administrator theme. But anyway, you can. The point is that you can modify the look of your site by using themes, as well as other elements like blocks and panels and views, to customize the Drupal experience for whatever you need. On this administrative menu, there's another one called Extend, and you will see here a list of core modules. And core module is what's included in that distribution release of Drupal, and it's got all kinds of elements here that you can enable or disable depending upon your need. And so Drupal is modular. It's got the basic core elements, and then it has contributed modules, which there are, I think there's 49,000 contributed modules that you can download from Drupal that further enable different functions and customize your site. These are all in core. I've added another contrib module called biography and citation, and some other optional contributed modules. The migrate. Anyway, you can highly customize what your site is going to look like. To quickly demonstrate that, let me show you a site that I developed, and NC High Peaks. This is the website for the High Peaks, North Carolina High Peaks Trail Association, and it's running on Drupal, and you can see that there's three major sections of this screen. There's the left sidebar, the right sidebar, and the main content area. And each of these are blocks. So let's say I wanted to go to, in this block, look at the weather forecast by hour. Well, anyway, you can put whatever content you wish in these blocks. And you can add, this is another application right here that I wrote probably 90% of the code on this interactive trail map. And this is written in JavaScript. And you can see as I hover over these trails, it lights up a description of the trail, and then you can go in here and click on here and download a PDF of the trail map. Anyway, my point is that you can use Drupal to host a lot of different applications. This same website I'm developing, I'm about to make this a live site, but here's another Drupal website that you'll notice that it looks quite a bit different. And because this website uses drop-down menus, whereas the other site used that sidebar and the top navigation menus. But this version of the website has a slideshow in it on the home page. It's got a lot of other features that I mean you can create right. Anyway, I think our Gitpod this should be done. Right. Right here is a URL to that that Drupal installation on Gitpod. And I'm going to click on that. Come up in a moment. Oh, that's, wait a minute, that's not the link. Oh, evidently it's got an issue. All right. Anyway, on this ziponbuy.com website that you can visit, it's got how-to articles on how to download and install the various elements for that you need to run Drupal. You can see here on the administrative panel in Drupal that you can there's only one user at the moment, that would be me, but you can add users and then grant permissions to that user. For example, you can create a role like editor or administrator or user or content creator, whatever you want. You can create different roles, and that permits that user to either view or use that particular feature. So what Drupal does is it stores its content in what it calls nodes in the database, and each piece of content has a node and a node ID, and in that node it will have the title of the piece of content. It'll have the date it was created. It will have the number of revisions and other metadata that you can use to query the database. And here is under reports. It will give you a status report on the condition of your site. It'll tell you the web server, the database that you're using, the versions of PHP and Drupal. There's one error, but it's not an important error. Anyway, I think what we'll do is I couldn't get the Gitpod loaded up. It had some, I don't know what the problem was, but oh, here it is. All right. Can you all still hear me? I mean,
Yes.
Yeah, sounded good.
all right. So the Gitpod thing did come up. Can you see the? Can you see this screen, or do I need to switch what I'm sharing?
I can see it.
It says welcome.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, great. This is the Drupal website that you can actually configure and practice. It's a demo site, but you can actually save all your settings and your work to a workspace. But by clicking on
Alan, you need to log in here to this demo site. I think it's admin.
oh, you're right. All right. Thank you, Dan. Okay, there you go. Now we're logged in as the administrator. You see these menus across the top for again, for creating content, for changing the structure and some of the elements on this site. But let's just, for fun, let's just add a basic page, and we'll call this hello WNCLUG. And now, on this content creation, when you're creating a page or an article or any kind of content, you will see that on the right that it's not currently in a menu, but I can create a menu link right here. I'm going to call that menu link hello WNCLUG, and a description if I want, and under what the parent menu link is. So I'm just going to save this, and you will see right now, there's the page. And you can see that the menu across, it used to be just home. Well, now we have that page that we created. And it's that easy to create a Drupal website and to create some content. Anyway, I think I want to turn this over to Dan and let him demonstrate the Drupal website that he created, and we can open this up for questions. So, does anybody have any questions before I head over to Dan? All right. Dan?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm trying to, you'll have to get off of the sharing your screen before I can share mine.
Okay. All right. So anyway, I do encourage you all to try that free Gitpod easy. It's a one-click installation, and you'll have a real full operating Drupal website that you can explore, and you can save the settings between sessions, and it's a pretty easy and powerful way to learn Drupal. Or if you want to get into it in more depth, you can use the various installation methods that I outlined on this Zip-on by website that I created. So I'm going to basically stop sharing my screen, and we'll go back to here we go.
Okay, let me go ahead and see if I can bring my screen up. And let me go to our website. Can everybody see the new website?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So my affiliation with Drupal, I started working with Drupal. Thank you, Alan, by the way, for the presentation. It's very good. My affiliation with Drupal started about 2016 or 2018 rather, with Drupal version 6. And the difference between Drupal version 6 and the current version this website's built on, which is 9.4.8, is like night and day. In the day when I started Drupal, it was very hard to, very steep learning curve, very hard to get it installed. Used a tar.gz file to install it, or a zip file. Now we use Composer, as Alan mentioned, and it makes it a lot easier to work with. But anyway, so what I did was I decided I wanted to build a website for us, since the site that we had was taken down for some reason. It no longer existed. So I built this WNCLinuxUsersGroup.com. You'll notice it is a secure website with Let's Encrypt. And I built it on Drupal because I know, as Alan mentioned, that it's a very secure platform. It has a lot of capabilities. It allows you to build by blocks. It allows you to use permissions for various viewing of the site itself. And so this particular website is also hosted on my Raspberry Pi. So it is locally hosted by me, and it was built up by me using a lamp stack. And I do not use any third-party companies to host this or support it. I do all the administration myself. So what you're looking at now is something I started in development and now I've pushed into production. So it is a live website, reachable around the world. One of the things I wanted to mention that Alan alluded to was if I have what's called a hamburger menu over here. And the reason for that is because this content streams too far over to the right. And so if I had content for the menu up here, it would interfere with this. So it's a hamburger menu. If you scroll down, you get the menu popping out. This is a mobile site too, by the way, so it'll come up on a tablet, an iPad, or a phone, iPhone or Android, just fine. I've already tested all of that. Notice that there is no article content, no article link here. And the reason for that is because I've set up the permissions on the view such that if you are a non-authenticated user, which I am currently non-authenticated on the website, which is just a typical site visitor, you will not see that. So there will not be a link to the articles. And that was by design, not by accident. So let me go back out. So this is the website itself. Let me talk about briefly. So this is in English. If you look off to the right, in the sidebar here, you'll notice that there are other languages. I have implemented what's called a multilingual module, which incorporates about 4 or 5 other modules into it, so that we can render this site in English, traditional Chinese, French, German, Hindi, which is for our Indian folks, and Spanish. All right, now I've got it set up such that it detects the browser of the incoming site visitor. So if you've got a person who lives in Spain, for instance, visits our website, it will automatically detect that that person's using a website that is rendered in Spanish. And so it will automatically switch over to the Spanish-speaking language translation for this particular site. Same for traditional Chinese, French, German, or Hindi. By default, for me, of course, when I visit, it renders it as in English. I have an alternate way of demonstrating that, and you'll notice up here now that it's an EN in the end. So that's a 2. If you look at the address bar, it's got our website domain plus the /EN, which means it's rendered in English. All right. Another way of translating the site is to go over here to what's called a language switcher and switch it. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to Dutch or Deutsch, German. All right. So when I hit that, it gets translated not only in the peripheral components of the site itself here, but also in this here as well, in the content. And so as you go down the page, the entire page gets translated into German. Now, anything that you do from this point on will remain in, or should remain in, German. So if I go to the events, to look at the events page, you can see that it's still being translated into German here. All right. And so that was, I felt, was necessary because if you're going to have a worldwide website and you want a lot of people to get to it, start interacting with it, it should be in their native language. Now, if they comment on the site in their native language, I have a way of translating their comments back into English for us non-German speaking people. All right, so once you make that translation into another language, the way to switch it back is to go to the first instance in the address bar, to the code itself, which is DE for German, and backspace and eliminate that and hit EN for English and hit enter, and then it gets translated back into English. It will not do it if you do it by the language selector. Okay. All right. So we go back to the home page. That was just a demonstration of German. I could do the same for French and all of that. But for sake of time here, I'm just not going to do that. All right. So
Dan,
let me scroll down and show you
Dan,
that.
can I ask a question?
Sure.
Just quickly, if someone started on a different language than English, will they have the language switcher available if they do speak English, and which to switch directly from, if they happen to be in Germany, from the Dutch page that launches?
Yeah. Yes. That's true. That's correct. Okay. Yeah, sure. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. So I become an authenticated user. And so I have an account here for authenticated user. And so I'm going to select that and log in. So I'm logged in now as an authenticated user to the site. I'm going to go back to the hamburger menu, and you'll now notice that articles now appears. So because I'm an authenticated user, permissions on the views allows me to view that particular menu link. And when I click on it, it now shows me the first article that pops up. All right, which is in English. All right. If you wanted to render that in Spanish or German or whatever, you would have to use, the browser would automatically detect your language, and this would be in your language. It would not be in English. But if that didn't happen, you could go to the language switcher on the homepage, select that first, switch it to that particular language that you wanted. When you come back here, it will be in that language. All right, understand? So let me demonstrate that if I can real quick. Go back to the home page, and let me come down, and let me just choose French, for instance. I'm an authenticated user now, so I should still be able to see. So this got translated into French. So if I come up the menu, I come down to articles. Now the article itself should be in French, and it is. All right, so that gets translated into French so that person can read that article and interact with it. All right, so let me go back here and let me log out. Now, what I did with this website is log out here. Okay. Go back here and let me go up and change this FR here to English. So I can get back to English. All right, so it's turned back into English language. All right, this website has a home. It has about page. So if I click on about, I've used something called the layout builder, which is a module I installed to present this content a little bit different than your typical basic page. So it has a picture of our moderator, Brent, and a picture of me, listserv owner and moderator. And I've listed my background briefly underneath this area here. I haven't done it for Brent yet because I don't know what that is. I'll ask him for that content. If you come down, it tells about our particular group. It's located in Asheville. It tells you how you can subscribe to the listserv. You can get on our listserv and start communicating with all of us in our group, a platform, our forum. All right. Another page that I have set up is the contact us page. Got two different ways of contacting us, and I'm still working on this. The very first one is already done, but here you can subscribe to the listserv. Here, the information. If you want to report an issue with the website, you just send a link to the webmaster, at WNCLinuxUsersGroup.com. If you want to inquire about our group or how to join, you can click on that. It sends an email to the admin. And if you want to discuss presenting at a monthly meeting, then you can click on the presenting at WNCLinuxUsersGroup.com and send an email, which I will receive, and it will let me know that an individual wants to or desires to present. All right. So that's the contact us. Now there's another way to contact us. Let me go back here. If I go to the main page, for instance, I didn't have to do that, but I will. Anyway, if I come down to the footer section, there's a contact section here, and it says send a secure internal message. They click the contact. It brings up the